As regards Novak Djokovic's predicament at the moment, it's very much in the balance.
All right, let's now talk to international affairs commentator Marko shall we? Big connections, of course, to Belgrade, so we thought we'd get you on the line to see what you thought about this. Where should we start first on this one? Well, look, first of all, even before what happened today, there's a lot of controversy about the fact that after he had that apparent positive test in Belgrade on, what was it, the 16th of December, he was seen very publicly without a mask or anything on at a public event. I think children were there as well. He was receiving some sort of award on the 17th. I mean, how's that been reconciled in Belgrade tonight, briefly?
Well, I can't speak for Belgrade. Unfortunately, I'm in London at the moment. But what I can tell you, that's perfectly obvious. If you have a test on the 16th, you've got a PCR test, you have to wait at least a day or two if you took that test, if you happen to take that test on the 16th. So it's quite likely you'll get your result by the 17th or even the 18th. So what you do on the 17th is perfectly normal. You mind your own business and do your own stuff till you get your result.
Well, even a public event?
Yes, because why would you think otherwise? You take a test, you might have taken a test as a standard act. Whatever the reason you took the test, you haven't got the result till you've. All right.
So just to make me clear, I don't want to go off too much of a tangent on this, but just to be clear, then the timing of it. At the time he was seen very publicly, he didn't know that he was positive for COVID. That's your understanding, yeah?
I would say that's entirely fits the facts. But what I would also say is that it's entirely irrelevant, because what he was doing on the 17th of December in Serbia has played no part in the decision of the Australian government to deny him a visa. What about the public
feeling of all those Australians who have had such a hard time, so many lockdowns? 90% of them are vaccinated. You know, I bet 90% of them, not that majority, wanted to be vaccinated. Maybe they didn't think it was a good thing. Maybe it was against their beliefs. You can see why they'd be a tad angry that he'd be let in without being vaccinated, no?
Well, they shouldn't be, because what they want in Australia is a rule of law and not for it to be converted again into a penal colony, which Prime Minister Scott Morrison seems determined to do. So if they want an independent judiciary which can look at the facts, look at them properly and reach a proper verdict, then they should be pleased for Djokovic, because Djokovic is fighting for their own rights to subject their own government to scrutiny.
And Scott Morrison, obviously a politician, wants the public behind, and you can see why it's happening. Are you surprised that this was overturned, that it's gone in his favour at the moment, Djokovic?
I'm pleased that Australia has shown it has an independent judiciary. That's crucial, because Scott Morrison is playing election politics. In election year, he wants to look tough, and he's decided to make Djokovic the example of his toughness. Well, it's gone wrong, because it's shown, the court verdict has shown that Scott Morrison flouted the rules he claims to live by. He flouted them, he got them wrong. He encouraged the immigration officer clearly to meddle in the arrival of this tennis player, which has never been seen anywhere else in the world, that a tennis player is kept for 7 hours at the airport in these circumstances, and encouraged without legal advice to write his own cancellation of his own visa. This is an incredible procedure. It could only happen from up top. And Scott Morrison is the man up top who's trying to ride roughshod of the rule of law and the rules he claims to live by.
Not over yet. He's OK for the moment. But Australia's immigration minister says, hang on, I've still got the powers to re-cancel your visa. Likely to happen or not at this stage now, do you think?
I'm pretty sure it will not be happening. And the reason why I say that, I think that what's happening here is that the federal government authorities are trying to lengthen the process of accepting the court's decision, because they don't want it to be too much of a victory for those who felt they were wrong in the first place. So they want to make it become a boring story by the time they finally accede to the fact and the reality that Djokovic will be playing the Australian Open almost certainly.
Is it right that he goes...
They have a confrontation with their own judiciary. So the executive and the judiciary will be at war. I don't expect that even Scott Morrison will be so rash as to try that one.
But is there too much kind of dirty water under the bridge now? There are going to be mass protests over this, I guess, for people that are angry at the fact he's there, yeah? It's going to muddy the waters.
Why should people be protesting? We don't know. What would they be protesting about? Surely they should be protesting for Djokovic, because he's managed to assert the right of the ordinary person.
Well, I go back to the public anger in Australia, because you know, but I was saying, you can see the public anger there for the people that have done as they were told, whether it was right or wrong. 90% of them are vaccinated there in Australia. You know, the tough times they and New Zealand have been through. So some of them are going to think, hey, who's this guy coming over, hasn't had a vaccination, can do what he likes. You can see the anger from some people.
Well, perhaps those people, if they feel that way, should turn their anger onto the person who's put them into those conditions for 2 years, converted them into essentially a prison colony again without any rights, and done it in such a bullish, thuggish way that it doesn't look like any democracy I've previously seen on the planet. That's where they should be angry, because they've been locked in not by Novak Djokovic, but by Scott Morrison.
Marko, international affairs commentator. We should leave you get on with it. Thank you very much for coming on. It was nice to see you.
You too.
Now, Russia's Vladimir Putin's expressed